finally meet
Nice to
you.
meet you.
I
Thanks
heard,
for coming.
Yeah, no problem. I heard there's some problems over at your agency.
Yeah, just a few problems. I've actually been kind of getting everyone's input and writing down what I've seen since we scheduled our appointment.
Okay, see if I can help.
Yeah. So basically the main problem that I'm seeing, or that everyone's seeing, is a lack of communication. So I know that that's pretty broad. So specifically, case aides, their trained mind of thought is that their visits with the parents and the children are priority over therapy taking place, yet no one's communicating schedules or to seeing if therapy is happening, especially for the kids, or if the visits are happening and when they're happening, if they want therapists to come to the visits to observe. It's chaos. Caseworkers are wanting all the info that they can get from therapists as quickly as possible, but yet it's one-sided. They seem to be unwilling to share the information that they have or that they are seeing from the clients that as therapists they don't see in their environment.
Okay.
Also, caseworkers are interfering with therapist court reports in that they're wanting specific things to be put in the reports, but the therapists are not feeling that the changes that are being requested are ethical, like that they're not seeing those things, so they therefore cannot put those in the reports.
So the therapists are writing up the reports, and the case managers are going in and editing or rejecting
requesting them to be edited and
Okay.
edit them into certain ways. And then that also goes with caseworkers are asking for therapeutic recommendations for their court reports or for any court proceedings that they may be having, but then they're not using them when they don't agree with the recommendations made by the therapist.
Okay. So basically, the therapist works off an entire recommendation, and the caseworker, if they don't agree with that recommendation or doesn't fit their agenda, then it gets rejected.
Yeah, it's just disregarded completely.
Okay.
It's kind of buried in the paperwork. Also, there's some boundary issues. Caseworkers are using counselors as their personal counselors, which obviously happens within any office.
Yeah, it's a common problem.
Yeah, venting. But it's becoming an issue because therapists are being caught in the middle between their clients and the caseworkers. The timing and basically it's just crossing like a venting line. It's not venting, it's it's inappropriate and putting the therapists in awkward situations.
Right, because they're co-workers, and now here they are getting their personal problems.
Yeah. And also, we've been seeing caseworkers having their own biases towards the clients. They may be getting certain impressions from the clients or forming their own opinions, and therefore that's how they work with the clients, and that's kind of determines how they want to work for the clients, unlike the therapists who are unbiased, try to be as unbiased as possible and work towards helping their clients.
The caseworkers are biased, therapists are unbiased.
Yeah, so it's kind of, they're not working together, which kind of goes into the last thing, like the caseworkers have their own idea of how often clients should be seen, and so they are kind of like forcing things upon the therapist from what they think should be happening, but they're not understanding the therapeutic side.
Their own agenda.
Yeah. Yep, so that's pretty much the compiled list of.
So it definitely sounds like there's a lot of things going on at the agency in regards to communication that you were talking about. Looking at these different problems that you just listed, can you think of an exception to one of these problems, so a time when the problem didn't occur or the problem just didn't happen?
I say they've been happening a lot more often, but I think it's because we have so many new caseworkers. Our turnaround has been pretty big these past few months, so I think it doesn't happen as often with the more seasoned caseworkers.
Okay.
I think they're better at communicating with the therapist. Like they've been around longer, so they kind of know how things work and what the therapists need to know and things like that.
So it sounds like more seasoned care therapists, just because they've they've been around, they have that experience.
Mhm.
They're not making as many mistakes or struggling with these different communication things because they've been there for a while, they know how things work.
Yeah.
Whereas the younger, or the newer, I should say, the newer therapists, or the newer caseworkers, or caseworkers don't know how things work as well. So
Yeah.
they might benefit from being, I don't know, maybe mentored or linked to a more seasoned caseworker to coach you for problems.
Yeah, I think especially encouragement to do so, to get that supervision. I don't know if it's they don't necessarily, like they're trained well, so I don't know if it's that they don't know how things work or if it's just their work, work ethic or how they work, just how they do their job.
Right, so how maybe they're nervous about their own job performance within their job,
Mhm.
and they want to make sure that they're doing things right, but they're scared to ask because they might think that they
Yeah.
should know
Mhm.
things that they don't. So again, that kind of getting in there and wanting and feeling like they can ask questions
Mhm.
of people.
Yeah.
So that definitely, it really sounds like that might be a solution there to the problem, using your more seasoned caseworkers to kind of help the younger, the fresher caseworkers along.
Mhm.
So that if they do have questions, if a supervisor's not available, maybe they can go to another caseworker that they have a relationship with and ask
Yeah,
them.
but they know that there's who can help them, who knows
For sure.
more.
And that might help cut back on, what visits are and how important they are in regards to therapy and all the other services that are going on, that everything's pretty much equal. How to work with therapists might
Mhm.
happen, because I'm guessing that working with a seasoned therapist, they have a better relationship with or working a caseworker, a seasoned caseworker working with a therapist has a better relationship than a newer caseworker
Mhm.
working with a therapist.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, they can kind of learn how they're supposed to work with therapists and the therapist's role.
Yeah.
Okay?
And again, learning that, the information.
Yes.
Yeah, passing
Well,
the information back and forth, yeah.
and understanding that the therapists aren't going to give them everything to protect the client.
Correct.
That
Yeah.
bias. So yeah, it really sounds like maybe linking the older caseworkers and the newer ones with one another could
Mhm.
help. So I guess just kind of to conclude on this, well, if everything in the agency were to be, you wake up in the morning and everything would look great, everything would be fine, no problems,
Mhm.
what would that look like to you? What would it look like?
Well, I guess just better communication in general, that they are able to collaborate as a unit and, basically be able to talk to each other when they need to talk to each other, because that's what seems like there's the disconnect. It's, they don't know who to go to, or, it's just, people are able to, the caseworkers and the therapists are able to communicate properly and, work together for a common goal.
So it sounds like more connection between caseworkers and therapists would really, really help kind of get those communication lines crossed and rebuilt. So maybe anything where they could interact on a more daily basis and not just oh, I need this or I need that from
Yeah.
you, could definitely help you out.
Mhm. Yeah, and say it doesn't help that they're in different separate buildings, so
Yeah.
that's even a bigger boundary for communication, is that they don't physically see each other all the time.
So maybe a solution to the communication problem is getting these people in contact with each other more
Mhm.
than they currently are.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds kind of like we have a really concrete solution right there. It sounds like finding some way to get these people more connected, like physically connected with one another, so that they can communicate about a lot of these things. And I mean, you've definitely been able to kind of pick that problem out, or that solution out from these problems on your own.
Mhm.
You were able to see kind of that exception to the rule where the seasoned caseworkers just seem to work better.
Yeah.
So I guess as you move through the rest of the problems in your list, or you encounter more problems, really look for those exceptions and
Okay.
see if you can enhance those.